Welcome to the JEMS Report, brought to you by Clearing Events, Fire and Rescue Division, and the Journal of Emergency Medical Services. My name is Ted Lee, and I'm the Editor-in-Chief of JEMS, along with Jeff Frankel, our Managing Editor. The JEMS Report brings subject matter experts and key officials from various emergency medical service disciplines and backgrounds to talk about hot topics and things going on in pre-hospital medicine. Today is a special day for EMS Week. Will be the EMS Remembrance Day, and we have a very special guest, Eric Morrison, with the National EMS Memorial Bike Ride Team, to talk about the Day of Remembrance and the Memorial Bike Ride. So if you'd like to give us a little bit of your background, we'll start there.
Sure. So, as you said, my name is Eric Morrison. I'm a EMS director in Rock Hill, South Carolina at Piedmont Medical Center EMS. Been in EMS for almost 30 years now. And this last year, I joined the board of the National EMS Memorial Bike Ride, part of the board of directors after participating in the rides for the last several years.
So, why do you think the Day of Remembrance is so important for EMS Week?
So I think one of the things that we often take for granted is that when somebody comes into the EMS profession, they're making sacrifices. Not just them, their families are making sacrifices too. During our ride last week, we actually were able to talk to a number of families, and that was one of the things that I kept saying to them is, we're here to remember your loved one because of not just the sacrifices they made, but the sacrifices of those families. Because whether or not someone has lost their life in the line of duty or not, they've still given up so much time, so much energy, so much of themselves, giving back to their community, to complete strangers on what's their worst day. And so these providers, some of them are paid, some of them are volunteer, but every day they're going and putting their lives on the line. And the families are right there with us. They're also losing holidays, they're losing weekends. You're not getting to go see your daughter's, preschool play because you're at work that day. So it's not just about the people that we've lost. It's about making sure the families understand that their loved ones matter to someone else, not just them.
Right. And yeah, that's part of it. I mean, we all go into this profession knowing that, we want to serve, our communities and groups. But it is always tough that, there's the backside of it, the family side of it. Like you said, missed holidays, birthdays, special occasions, because you're giving out to the community. I remember my daughter asked me one day, I was getting ready to go to work, and she was getting upset about it because, it'd been a long week at work and volunteering at another agency. And she was like, "Can anybody else do your job?" And, that really it hits hard, when you look at that, when you have the family stuff that you have to do, and then, you have to put on a brave face and then go out and try to serve your community as well. So it is, all encompassing. You can't do it alone. Without the support of your family, you could never really do this job. And we don't get into it for the money, and we don't get into it because we have great schedules or stuff like that. It's all about service. So remembering the ones that served and to your point, have passed, either in the line of duty or from other things. I think it's important to the profession that we remember those who are no longer with us.
Absolutely, absolutely, it's important to us. That's a big part of the EMS Memorial Bike Rides is about making sure that those names of the lost are remembered. Our riders wear dog tags during the course of the ride. We wear a pair of them. They have the names of an honoree or multiple honorees. And if we're lucky enough, we'll get the opportunity to meet with that family at some point, and present those dog tags to them. We keep one set for ourselves so that we continue to ride with them. We have that person with us. We're carrying their name and their memory forward. And the family also gets something that's a physical reminder that somebody else cares. It's not just them that's thinking about this person. Somebody else knows their name. Somebody else knows they're important and they matter.
Yeah, and that's great. So, let's get into a little bit of the background of the Memorial Bike Ride. How long has that been going on?
So this is actually the 24th year. We're already starting to talk about our 2025 events because that's going to be the 25th anniversary. So needless to say, that's going to be a big deal. And the board of directors has already got things in mind that we're working towards to try and make that an especially um, important celebration for all of us. That's a big milestone to get this far. So we've been around for 24 years. Um, right now, um, multiple there are multiple day rides as well as a single day event that occur as part of the Memorial Bike Rides. So there's a route on the East Coast, which is happening, um, will have happened by the time we air. Our southern route has already just completed. Our Midwest route, our Colorado route, and our West Coast routes will be coming up between June and September. And then in July is the Weekend of Honor that's conducted in conjunction with the National EMS Memorial Service. It's a one-day event in the Crystal City area outside of DC. It's a single-day ride. It's part of a culmination of events that happen with the families of line of duty deaths that are being honored as part of the National EMS Memorial Service. And so it's a great opportunity too that doesn't require quite as large of a time commitment for folks that are able to participate.
So, how long are these typical rides that aren't the one day ride?
Sure. So most of them are 7-day routes. This year, our southern route was almost 500 miles total. But I think the really important thing for people to understand is it's not a race. It's not about how fast can I get from one place to another. As much as anything, it's about the remembering the cause, understanding why we're there. It's the camaraderie with the other riders. You know, there are some riders that will ride part of a day and then they'll get in the support vehicles and they'll be part of that for the rest of the day and cheering on the other riders. Some riders will ride every single mile, but it's really about what you bring to the event and what you take away from the event. And we also are always looking for folks that are part of the support. You know, they don't have to ride a bicycle; they can be there to help. You know, help marking turns and making sure people make it where they need to get, and helping with rest stops. So there's lots of opportunities to get involved, even if you're not feeling like you can manage pedaling the bike yourself.
Yeah. So, how many riders typically do you have at a single event?
So each of the events kind of have their own personality, each of the routes do. The East Coast route is currently the largest. This year, the numbers will fluctuate a little bit each day, but there's about 90 riders total, along with about 30 support staff participating in it. The Southern route, which, as I mentioned, just concluded, we had around 20 riders with another 5 or 10 support staff, and we've actually partnered with the South Carolina EMS Memorial Bike Ride for that ride the last couple of years. And so we had some additional riders from that route as well this year.
And for the single day, how many do you typically have on that team?
The single day event has been somewhere in the neighborhood of about 75 riders typically. It's a great event because it's on a bike path. Sounds odd to say, but it's a paved trail outside of DC. It's one of the trail system there, and so it's a very low interaction with vehicles. Ride as far as you want to turn around and come back because it's going 32 miles straight out the same path. And so some riders will only join at the lunch stop and ride back, where others will ride all of those miles.
So, it's sounds like a pretty significant undertaking that you have so many rides across the United States, and of course the single ride up by the memorial. Um, how do you make that happen? I mean, how many people are part of this? I can't imagine um, that you have a paid staff to be able to handle all of this.
Right. So the board of directors are all volunteers. All of us come from different parts of EMS. Some are from the hospital side, some are from the 911 side. But we all bring different time and talent to the process. But honestly, the rides can't happen without the route coordinators. We have a separate route coordinator for each of the 5 multi-day events and then the one single day event. And those folks give incredible amounts of time. I cannot say enough about the work that they put in to make sure that Every detail is nailed down as much as they possibly can. During the rides, we experienced, weather incidents and having to reroute because a road was suddenly flooded or blocked by a tree or something like that. And so those folks are continuously working to keep the riders safe, to make sure the event happens, and then also trying to keep us on time so that when we have those opportunities to meet with families, that we're there in a timely fashion as well.
Yeah. So, how to make all this stuff work? I mean, I would imagine that sponsorship only goes so far. So, how did they coordinate all this?
Sure. So, at the board level, we obviously kind of set direction for each year, in coordination with the individual route coordinators. The schedules and the destinations are set and established, and then like the route coordinators do a lot of that work. At the national level, we're creating the jerseys. We're working through that process, working through sponsorships to help continue to fund the effort that are going into this. The collecting of the honorees is a big part that I shouldn't I should make sure we mention that. So this current year we are honoring 83 EMTs and paramedics from across the country. I don't think any of us believes that is an accurate, all-encompassing list of people who should be honored. We have already opened the honoree portal for this year, for people that will be honored in 2025, and we're already receiving those names, which is fantastic, because we know that there are more people that have not been recognized that deserve to be included in the future.
Yeah. So, you said the portal. What's the website for that?
So, the National EMS Memorial Bike Ride, so NEMSBR.org, is the website. And so there's a link on there that actually gives you the link to submit a nomination.
Okay, great. Is there a tab there for donations? Do you guys accept donations from individuals as well as sponsors?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Donations are accepted. Our riders, when they participate, are actually encouraged to set up a fundraising site as part of it. They're not required to um, raise a specific amount of donations, but we do encourage that because it does, again, help with the mission.
Right. So, very important mission. And like you mentioned, probably not everybody is recognized that should be. Not to fault anybody, just not everybody knows that this is going on, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to focus on you guys for Remembrance Day, as part of EMS Week, being the 50th anniversary of EMS Week. To get the message out that those that have passed, that there is an opportunity for them to be remembered and to be honored one more time for their sacrifice.
Yep. This, I'll tell you, this year was very personal for me. I had a friend who had a line of duty death that we honored this year. One of our employees from my team was honored this year, as well as a firefighter from a local fire department was honored. So, we had the opportunity during our southern route to meet with those three families, among others. And it really reminds you of why what we're doing is so important. When you meet with the families, when they see that somebody else cares, I think we all see that when tragedy happens, it feels like our world stops, right? Um, but everything else still goes on around us. The grass still needs to be cut, the bills still need to be paid.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those hard things of processing a tragedy in your family. And so to have somebody else tell you that your loved one was important and matters, is a really significant moment. You can see it in those families' faces, and you can see it in their appreciation for what we're trying to do.
So, on the website, you can view all the routes. They have the routes and the dates and everything.
Yep. Routes and schedules are available on the website. We hope by late fall that we'll start announcing the 2025 routes and plans. We're hoping all of that will be up before the first of the year to give people plenty of time to plan. And like I said, I think a really important thing for people to understand is, again, Um, this is not, it's not a race. It's not about going as fast as you can. Most of the time, the pace that the group is traveling is very manageable for most people with a little bit of training. We all know our industry is one that we need to continue to focus on the physical well-being of our providers. That's actually part of our mission, is to help improve the wellness of EMS providers by using, in this case, long distance cycling to help drive that forward. If you're going to train for an event like this, it's going to help improve your health overall as well. So we think that's really important. We think that's achievable for people, and we want to encourage you to come out and give it a try. As one of our former presidents used to say, if you give me a day, I'll have you for life. When you show up and you see and you understand what this is really about, it draws you in. I did it for the first time 3 years ago, had no idea, what I was getting myself into. Found myself really connected to the riders and the mission. And now here I am several years later, participating on the board and trying to make sure that we keep this happening.
Right. Well, they hooked you. To your point of, just starting just 3 years ago, how did you get involved? What brought that about?
So I am a former triathlete. I actually 20 years ago had Hodgkin's lymphoma, was recovering from cancer, needed something to build my own well-being again post-cancer. Started riding, got into triathlons, and so coming into COVID, I was looking for something as a stress relief, and I came back to cycling. I started riding indoors, and that particular year, a friend of mine was being honored, and it happened that the southern route was starting very close to my home. So all the stars kind of aligned.
Just kind of lined up.
Yeah, exactly, to draw me in at the right time. And that's what we find, is that unfortunately, until more people know about the rides, you typically have to know somebody to get
Right.
drawn into it. And we really want more people to participate and to be involved in the rides.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons, like I mentioned earlier, about, why we thought you guys would be great for, Remembrance Day, for the National EMS Week agenda. So I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. Great cause. Of course, the website again, National EMS Memorial Bike Ride, or NEMSMBR.org. You can find all of your, it's a mouthful.
It is.
You can find all of your ride times, your remembrance list, your sponsors, how to help sponsor, and additional contact information if you want to become part of the National EMS Memorial Bike Ride.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you out there. The Midwest, the Colorado, and the Western routes are spinning up now for their upcoming rides.
That's great. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And then, of course, all the extra time that you put in for the Memorial Bike Ride. I know it's very meaningful. You and I had a conversation a little while ago. You had recognized somebody really special to me in 2019 as well. So it does kind of hit home and is really special.
Thank you. We really appreciate being offered the opportunity to participate.
All right. Thank you very much and have a great day.
You too.